Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Talking today about, it was a line actually that Harry Trades said to me the other day about my challenger cards, and it was heart over head. And I'm just now realizing how expensive following your heart is on Sorare. It's probably more expensive in life, but particularly on Sorare. Thank you to everybody for coming in. Fraxy, Bob Franklin, and Cameron on the podium. Congratulations to you three. Fraxy said, I miss using my Dario, Osorio, and Midtjylland stack. They're back soon. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Daniel did notice that today is Thursday, and Andy Black is not here, so Sorare Andrews is not happening. It might happen tomorrow, but it's not happening today. Tuggy, what's up? Wedding, $150 per guest. Ring, thousands. Kid, probably $1 million from birth to college. At least getting neutered is covered by insurance. I mean, in some places anyway. Tyus, what's up? Thanks for coming in. Hope the Matt Smets you bought from me would be special edition once you unwrapped it. First up, thank you very much for accepting my offer on that card. Secondly, thank you for not opening the card after I sent you an offer. And three, thank you again. Unfortunately, not a special edition, but it happens. So it is what it is. Olympic Manager, evening all. Haven't caught one of these live in forever, so welcome back. Glad you could make it. Mikey Baston in the house. Palma, what's up? Toby's been waiting a little while, so I guess, but yes, finally we are live. Toby 2K, hey Laird, longtime viewer and first time in the chat. Tommy, thank you for joining the chat. Much appreciated as always. FTJ23, hello. Filming Yo Cooch. Wow. Thank you for coming in from Twitch. That's quite a name. I'm glad I read that out nice and slowly so we could all really appreciate that one. Surface Air Missile, what's up? Philly Dilly, whatever the price of Sorare love is, it's worth after sitting through these premless weeks. I mean, I don't even have much prem. And I certainly didn't win anything during these premless weeks anyway. But it is what it is. Just Mike it in the house. Thanks for coming in. So yeah, this is kind of not like a continuation of, no, it's exactly what it is. It's a continuation of kind of the accounting that I've been doing recently in the in-season stuff, particularly. And I just got a real reminder of what happens when you think you're having fun and then trying to win with that fun. It's a tricky one because I've long been adamant that you should have a part of Sorare that you do just for fun, and that not that like the whole game shouldn't be fun, but sometimes it's kind of like, oh, this guy's card is slightly off, and so I want to buy that, or I just want to play with guys named Andy, or I just want to play cards from a specific league of players who aren't in the league anymore, stuff like that. And I actually did, I think, talk about this before, that there are a lot of ways where you can make this game harder for yourself, and stuff like that does it. And so I came to that realization very quickly earlier this season. And it was really nailed home basically yesterday when I started to do my accounting for my challenger rare teams. And I did a limited one. I did a video on that previously. I might go into the limited stuff a little bit for this weekend at the end of the show, but this was really more about, basically, I think I made mistakes. Like, it feels like a mistake, even though I was kind of doing what I wanted to do. And it just becomes kind of a mess. Anyway, Harry Trades in the house. What's up? Tuggy's decided to rename him Harold Deals, which is great. Daniel said Dallas rumored to have accepted Boca's offer for Velasco. That was happening. I have a Velasco offer out that was rejected yesterday or this morning. I sent it yesterday. So yeah, Boca always worries me. I was actually much more interested in Velasco possibly going to Estudiantes, talking to Surfula, got me all fired up about it. And then it turns out to be Boca. And I just, ever since Sebastian Villa, I just haven't had good experiences with anyone from Boca. And so I almost just want to like turn them off. Harry Trade said he's Harrison Steels. That's yeah, for real. I did a deal with Harry today, and it was the first time Harry and I have ever done a deal together. And it seemed like it should work out really well. I think both of us are going to win in division because of that deal. And so hopefully it works out for the both of us, excuse me. So I'm going to go through my challenger rare in-season cards and basically try to show that there was some plan, and whether there was or not, well, there was a plan, and I think I executed the plan correctly. It just didn't work out. And because of that, I feel like it's like the numbers look bad. I'm not going to lie. And I don't know how confident I am in making that money back if I don't win Challenger Rare in-season Division 1 this game week coming up. I think I have a pretty good lineup for it, but thankfully, as long as I'm in Division 1, every game week I'm going to have an opportunity to pay all of this stuff off, which is a benefit of being in Division 1 versus the other divisions. And so actually, I say all of that, and I'm not even sure what the top prizes are in Challenger this weekend. I assume it's enough. And I still really wish they just made this the default. But anyway, Challenger Rare Division 1 is 1,500. Yeah, so that will be enough for me to make up all of my purchases for this year. For a bit of a spoiler, second place for $1,000 doesn't do it. Oh, actually, it might. It might because of my previous winnings. It might. But I can't talk about my in-season challenger plan without discussing FC Midtjylland. And for some reason, this Danish football club has taken over a vast majority of my interest in football, which is interesting for countless reasons, not least of which that I have yet to see them play a game this season because I don't have a legal way to do it. And I'm not really big into illegally streaming things. And so I have multiple Midtjylland collections, including rare, limited rare, and super rare. Now, my super rare collections are not that prolific because it's super rare. But like I have a 3% from the 2022 season, and I have bought cards from this collection because they're in this collection. Like if I'm going to buy classic Midtjylland super rares, I want to try to do it from this collection. And I also have sorry, I took that off. So I have a 2022 rare collection where I got this up to 5%. And this was kind of the original collection that I had that was sort of the basis or the start of my Midtjylland endeavor. I also did some of this 2022. I started this one at the same time as the rare one and then decided to just go in rare. But I also then the following season didn't do a rare collection, but I did a limited one and I have a complete collection. And I like this collection a lot because this card, August Prisk, I don't know. This is the only card ever minted of this guy. And Sorare Data claims that there are a couple. He does have new season cards. I meant from that one. But if you see Classic, they claims 2. I didn't even know he had a new season this year. But this is the only one. And so I'm actually the only person in the entire world that has a complete 2023-24 FC Midtjylland collection. And so going into this upcoming season, it was kind of like, do I really want to buy more Midtjylland cards? And it turned out the answer was yes. Yes, I did. I also apparently have, whoa, didn't mean to zoom there. 3 cards from this season. I don't know why I would buy these. Let's see. I think I got a Cho because I didn't have one from my other season. Phrasal started randomly. And maybe I don't know why I have that card. And I don't know why I have this Lossel card. But anyway, I started to build an FC Midtjylland collection for this season, in season. And I was like, you know what? Let me play Challenger with Midtjylland. Best of both worlds. I get to play for cash and I get to play with cards from my favorite team. And one of the tricky things about Midtjylland here is Elias Olofsson is their starting goalkeeper this year, which was there was a bit of a talk preseason between whether it was one of these two guys, Lossel or Olofsson. Olofsson spent last season in the second division in Portugal at Mafra, which is a sister club of Midtjylland. And Olofsson came back, won the starting job, and he did not have cards from last season because he was loaned out. He did have cards from 2 seasons ago, which I didn't have until somewhat recently. But the plan was, let's just go with Midtjylland. And so I started out, you can ignore these 2 cards because I got these earlier on. Martinez was a contender card at the time. I didn't even know I had this Jacob Castro card. And so my favorite player on the team, maybe second favorite, is Paulinho. And he was the first player I bought. And it was like, all right, if I'm going to do Paulinho, you know, I'll get the goalie at some point and then just I'll keep going. And at some point you get into a collection, especially if you are in the Sorare Scandinavia Discord with other people who collect Midtjylland, that getting to 5% is almost imperative because there are other people who are doing it. And I was willing to buy these cards early because I wanted to play them. And so not that I have a big XP advantage on them. And I don't even know where I am on the leaderboard. I'm certainly not first. In fact, I might not even be in the top 10. I take that back. I'm second. Oh, no. Sorry. That was the old one. I'm 5th right now. And frankly, I don't really care where I am. But, you know, if you hang out in the Sorare Scandinavia Discord, you'll recognize some of these names. And being at the top of the leaderboard I don't care about that. What I care about is having the cards that I want to play as powerful as possible. And so, you know, I started building the collection and essentially disaster struck with Midtjylland. And Paulinho got hurt. I then bought Joel Anderson, who was playing for Paulinho. And then like Emiliano Martinez, he got hurt. And then, you know, I'll have a bunch of different collection pieces, which is the best I can say about Lee Hand Bum now. And I finally got Elias Olofsson on, when did I get this card? July 31st. I say finally, but like, because they had played a few games, but I got Olofsson. And as you can see, I paid $221 for this card. And that's when I was like, if I'm in on Midtjylland, I got to go in. And so that's basically when I was like, all right, I'm just going to go to 5%. And if you notice, just these are all my Challenger in-season rare cards listed in order that I got them. And so you can see I got Olofsson very early, and I'll talk about Haspelat the GOAT in a few minutes. But just the more cards I accumulated, the more Midtjylland cards I bought. And they were pretty much all early access cards, so I didn't know that some of them were special edition. And then I got this Gagorza, which is a real bummer because it's a rookie card and a special edition, and you don't get duplicate special edition collection points. But anyway, I love for some reason I love Midtjylland, and I was like, let me just go and buy as many to get to 5%. And I'll go to my spreadsheet in a second to show you why that turned out to be so detrimental. But let me catch up on the chat here. My apologies. Manito said in Portugal, there's a bookie site that transmits some Norwegian games. That's getting closer. Instant Zed said almost all of the Midtjylland games play on ESPN3. YouTube TV smacks with all the Danish games. I don't think that's right. That ESPN, I guess that's like ESPN Plus now. I don't think that's right. Let's see. So Mulkey said, how do you separate competitive play from fun? Do you set aside some budget for fun, or do you make no distinction? I make no distinction. And actually, the reason I was able to make this collection is because of my winnings from Contender. Like I remember, and if you watch the show regularly, you may remember that I won $1,000 by finishing second in Contender in-season rare with a Necaxa stack. And I used most of that money to fund the Midtjylland collection. And so that, and I wish the line between, or the gap between playing competitively and playing for fun was much closer. And I think the issue that I was coming upon was I was buying cards for fun, meaning like building the Midtjylland collection was fun for me. And it was fun to have those cards. And I was like, and then I'll just like buy cards that'll help me be competitive in SO5. And the problem is that the more money you spend on a collection for fun, the more you're like, man, maybe I should try to get a return from these cards. And so then you put them in the lineups and then the wheels fall off. So we'll see. Arthur said, completely unrelated, is there any possibility of seeing Hector Herrera's Sorare scores of back in 2013? I don't know. I do know he's suspended for the first 3 games. So Inson Zen said, trade me that classic collection for a neon Christmas goalkeeper David Raya for Arsenal. No, thank you. Sean Kennedy, is there an expected return date for Simsier? So the last I saw is that he is training, but like not fully training yet. But they also like just got back. They returned game week 47. They might have like a midweek game before that, but the league starts. I watch them on my tablet with the ESPN app every week. I'm in Chicago, so I'm sure it's not a location issue. You just need to be. Wow, I had no idea they were on ESPN Plus. I'll check that out. Literally no idea. I also don't have ESPN Plus, but that will get me to do it. Anyway, so the other major issue that happened with Midtjylland and my Midtjylland collection and trying to return from them is that 2 of what I considered the most important pieces were either constantly injured or inconsistently injured. And that's Paulinho and Aral Simsier, who Sean brought up earlier. And so I didn't think, Toby said the league starts in game week 53. They have 2 midweeks before that. Thank you, Toby. 53 seemed really far away, and now I guess it's 5 weeks. This is 43 coming up. So with those 2 players out, and the reason why those 2 are so important for like my plans is that I'll show you exactly why it becomes a problem. So I have 5 Paulinhos, 2 limiteds, both classic, a classic rare, a classic super rare, and an in-season. And Sorare Turkey says Shimshir, which is fine. I can say that. I think I just did. Shimshir. Okay. Thank you. I mean, if Sorare Turkey is going to correct me, I feel like I should listen. Anyway, so that's my issue with Paulinho. And like Joel Anderson has been fine this season, and the center backs, Madsbeck and Ousmane Diao, have been okay, but nobody's Paulinho. And I say this as if like Paulinho is this epic scorer, which he's not. But like he's got some peaks to his game, and he's just like the definition of your attacking left back. So in matchups that aren't great, like away to Porto, he's probably not going to score that well. But then in other ones, he will. It's like that. But he really has played so sparingly this year. Like if you game week 494 was the first time he played, and then he did not play again until game week 34. As a reminder, we went to 501 before we went to game week 1. And then the big issue with my Shimshir is that I have the classic cards are all forwards, and this new season is a midfielder. And so my plan was basically like, if I'm going to run Midtjylland stacks, I'll run 4 in-season guys and then Shimshir. That's what I'll go say. And so it just, everything started to break down. And it's just gotten really ugly because the Midtjylland cards are a vast majority of my challenger cards for this season. So it's spreadsheet time now. Actually, let me get to Malky first. So you don't think it's good advice to new players to just buy a collection of their favorite team and go from there? Quinny often recommends this. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think like stacking is optimal in most instances. The benefit of Midtjylland, at least from a collection standpoint, is that they have midweeks. They play, I can't even remember if it's Europa or Conference, but then at least you'll have 5 players that are going to play. So I don't think it's bad strategy. I think I got unlucky with the injuries, and it's not like Midtjylland are an elite team within the Danish Superliga. Like it's not. They won the title last year by accident, basically, and so it was unfortunate. So anyway, I'm going to go through this very quickly because it's not really the point, but I basically wrote down everything that I did. And then there were a few random cards that I added in, and I probably should have done this differently. And I'll explain that in a second. I added Haspelot on July 31st. I believe that was like 2 games that they had played. He took all set pieces, and I was like, this guy might be the guy this year. And I thought about making a Westerlo collection. Had a Nicholas Madsen. I actually don't think I should include that because it's not here. Actually, I can just do this. Hold on. I bought a Nicholas Stassen. Oh, I didn't put him in. I got to put that in. So that's even higher of a cost. So I bought Haspelot, Nicholas Madsen, who then went to QPR, and Lucas Stassen, who then went to Saint Etienne. And it was like, do I build a Westerlo collection? And nothing felt more depressing than that. So I just went along. So I bought a Theo Leone in-season card from Anderlecht. He was playing early on in the season and playing well, and then guys came back from injury, and he's been just terrible. And then you can see here a bunch of Midtjylland cards. Arthur Piedfort was playing really well at one point, and then for some reason I thought $23.47 was a good price for his card, so I bought it. Again, part of the Westerlo collection, but it wasn't great. And then on August 27th, I was like, I need more challenger guys. And I didn't want to spend all of the money to get PSV or Feyenoord or Galatasaray or Fenerbahce, or I don't remember if I said AZ, but I'll add them too. And so I was like, let me get Sparta Rotterdam. Like they were okay last year. I was mostly doing it as a defensive stack for Nick Olai. And they did have Camille Negli from that I had last year, who was taking set pieces sporadically. So I bought Olai, and I was like, all right, maybe I'll do Midtjylland and Sparta collections. And so I also bought this guy, Mike Eerdhuizen, who's one of their center backs. He's been dreadful. Rotterdam have been horrific. And on my birthday, I bought a few more cards because I was doing kind of this experiment of, can I get away with with like focusing on set piece takers and that's it. Like I'll use Olai, maybe Eerdhuizen, and then 3 set piece takers, midfielder, forward, and probably another midfielder, or get 4 of them and we'll see. And that's when I brought in Jakob Briam, my first Jakob Briam. And I bought Filip Krastev from Zwolle. Krastev was almost immediately benched after I picked him up. Mats Kollert from Heerenveen, who is supposedly back this week, but I haven't actually seen that. That was the first week of October. And I ended up winning with these guys. I cashed, what game week is this? Game week 15. So I had Muslera was a card I already had. Oh, I also bought this Patrick Fluke. Where is that? Here it is. Patrick Fluke, who is in and out from Mechelen. It's like takes all set pieces when he's in, but then isn't always in. But anyway, Muslera, Kollert, Haspelot, Fluke, and Briam. Briam actually the disappointment there. This was in Division 2, got me to Division 1, won me $60 in a box that was probably some level. Well, probably wasn't level ups, probably 2 essence. Oh, actually at the time it was probably 20. So, and then I added Michael Vlap, who got me a reward in game week 20 with some of the Midtjylland guys. And there's the Simsir forward card. So basically that was the plan here. I probably would have had another, oh, this is a midweek, excuse me. Which is fine. Vlap has midweeks with Twente. But that was sort of the idea, is to kind of mix and match guys like that. I considered a Heerenveen collection because of that Kollert card. I never really considered a Mechelen collection, thankfully. But then I started to get not cute, because I was like, I just want to, each week, maybe I'll find like one of the available set piece takers, right? And so that's why I bought this Marco Bulat card. He was also instantly benched after I got him. He's at Standard Liège. This Hugo Siquet, if that's how you say it, I only got because Sirhis had one, and I spent $1.63 plus 2 rewards I was never going to use. I bought another Jakob Briam because this is the jersey mint, and I don't think I need to say anymore. And then I was like, oh, there are a couple other jersey mints on the market. Westerloos to help my Haspelot card, and then 2 Heerenveen ones for $10. That got the Kollert card to that 1% or 2%. 2%. So like 2%, like getting this card to 2% collection bonus, because I thought this was going to be an important card for $10. I thought was fine. And then I've just been kind of adding different pieces. Sparta, Midtjylland, Sparta, Julian Bass, who is actually terrible. But I think my decision-making changed when I got this Jarny Stukers card, and I actually have a limited of him as well. It says I paid $163 for this card. I actually paid $118 because of market credits. And I kind of bought him as a one-off. And I was like, oh, he'll be like my good card along with these other absolute scrubs. And I was, familiar with him because I had his limited. And I kind of did the same thing a week later with Sofian El Karani. I don't know why I struggle with saying his name. A $12 card for a guy who takes set pieces for Utrecht seemed fine to me. A terrible matchup this weekend. And then yesterday, 2 days ago, I bought a Matthias Fixels jersey mint for $1.14, again to help Haspelot. Well, let's see where that collection is. I don't think I'm close to. Oops, I was literally typing in Haspelot. That's how much I like him. Yeah, 2% still. How short am I from? Yes. Ugh. Like adding Westerlo cards is just painful. But let's see. I get 20 more. I get up to 200. Not for a while. Ugh. I almost bought a Bolot. I was so close. And then he got banned. I own a Bolot limited card. And then 2 days ago, I bought this Matt Smets because I thought I had a really good lineup for this weekend. And I was like, this is the week that I will get a return from my challenger cards. And it was this lineup right here which I now have Smets in. And I had a Hendrik van, is it Hendrik? Yeah, Hendrik van Krombruge. This super rare was in this lineup, but he is apparently questionable to play. And so Harry Trades gave me this Lars Unnerstall card today, along with this Alexandru Maxim rare card that I traded. I had 2 of these Maxim super rares, and Harry wanted one of them. So we made that trade. And I have Unnerstall here, and I'm hoping that this lineup is good enough to win, which I know sounds very silly. My other option was also to move Vlap from this lineup to this one. I asked Harry to do the lineup for me, and he made this one with Davy Roof. He does have Vlap. He has Vlap. He has no Haspelot, I just realized. Well, I might have to cancel my Harry Trades membership now. But that's the idea, is to try to like return from these cards. And I have 3 in-season lineups for this weekend. This one is in Division 3. I'll be lucky if it even wins a box, I think. But it's really this one that I'm most interested in. And then I have a couple of classic cards as well. If Van Krombruge is deemed fit, I probably move him up here. Maybe not though, like in Unnerstall spot. But I don't know. Tobe said, I know Briam is hotter than hell, but surely it's your lineup of Vlap over Briam. Yeah, I think that is the possibility. Vlap over Briam. The funny thing is, though, if I do that, I can't just move Briam to this lineup because he's already here, because I still have 2 of them, which means I move him here, which means someone from any of these lineups can move up. I guess I could put Haspelot up here too, because it's a in-season or a classic card. Maybe that's what we do. Or and then Briam moves all the way down here. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. It's 20 hours until the deadline, so I've got plenty of time. But really what is unfortunate is I was tracking all of this. Let me make this smaller because you guys don't really care how I got the cards. But as you can see, there's only been 5 game weeks since July that I've won cash in Challenger, one of which was a midweek. So it's like they were all Challenger cards. So I probably shouldn't even count that, to be honest. I'm going to. The saving grace I had was this game week here. What is that? Game week 21, where I actually finished first in Division 4. I bet my lineups that game week were horrific. I'm going to be so upset. What did I say, 21? Yeah, 21. So like that was my lowest priority lineup, theoretically. Like I had this Midtjylland stack with Messi, which is what dreams are made out of. They won 2-0. I'm not sure Anders. Yeah, Joel didn't start out of nowhere. Did Emmy start? Yeah, he went 90. Like, it was just ugly. Like, look at these scores. Of course, I had Diao somewhere else in Division 4. And Babu somehow. Frank, who scores off the bench. Like, they're just a terrible scoring team this year. They really, like, legitimately are. And so if you went in here into the game week and you told me like, oh, they're going to win 2-0 and Messi's going to score 99.5, I'd be like, yeah, I won Division 1. And instead I was 1 point short of a box and 91 points short of like the minimum cash, which I think was $90. But then I had this lineup, which I also thought was good. Olai, Kohlert, Haspelot, Negley, and Tadic captain. What do we think? Miss Penn on this one? Didn't even have it. Wow. Oh, he didn't start. 20 minutes, of course. Did Negley start this one? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. He did. 72 minutes. Haspelot, 60, all AA, in a 60 and a 2-0 loss. Kohlert gets the assist, 88 total. Sparta somehow, and I realized these two played each other, but I wasn't really playing Kohlert for the assist. And so, yeah, and it was this lineup here. My old Elias Olafsson, David Martinez from Inter Miami, which is a card that I got when I bought 2 jersey mints. I actually I actually don't think I've made that video yet now that I've said this out loud. But for $35, I got the David Martinez and Augustin Palavecino jersey mints from the River Plate collection. Neither of them play for River Plate, but they were both jersey mints, and it just helped my collection. There's Vlap, 3 decisives, 100 captain, nailed it. And this Patrick Fluke card. And then here's Diao, who had 90. So in my top lineup scored 398. My second priority lineup scored 315. And the lineup that I just threw in, 496.50. And I'll say the most frustrating thing about this Patrick Fluke card, and we can even just go into him. I'll just show it here. Like I probably got him in this range. I don't even want, well, I guess I could look when I got this card. 929. So I got him just like in the middle of this game week. So he'd been coming off quite a good stretch here. And I was like, oh, he's got set pieces. And actually, let's do it here. There we go. That's this season. Started the season off with 2 decisives, goals, double-digit AA and 4 straight, then gets an assist. Like, this guy was cooking. And then I buy him, and like this is what we've seen since then. 1, 2, 3 sub appearances, 2 straight DNPs. But then every game he plays, he's great. And when I was going through it yesterday, where was that card? Patrick. Here he is. Like, he won $60 in one lineup, $200 in another lineup. I bought it for $20, and he's been in $262 worth of lineups, and my 1/5 was $52. So he's got $31.80 in profit. Vlap's at 32. Vlap's doing the. So it does show that, like, obviously Krupti says better to be lucky than good. I mean, I'll take a win wherever. But so when I was going through, like, the total spend here is $1,262. And it's like, man, that's a lot of money to only return. Let me see. $390 of winnings. $390. And I was like, all right, is it all Midtjylland's fault? What if I had just not bought the Midtjylland cards, which at this point have cost me $552? But it's like, oh, they are part of all of the winnings. The big win, ironically, the big win is there was only 1 card from that. And of this 551, 220 is just the goalie, who, in fairness, has been part of 3 winning lineups, but I'm still like way behind on this one. And so, and I was kind of like looking at everything other than Midtjylland. Like, had I just never bought the Midtjylland collection, and I want to believe, I mean, maybe the answer is I would have just wasted it all on Sparta, and that's the problem anyway. $710 on the other cards. What if we just take Sparta out too? Now, granted, it's difficult to do this because I don't have a goalie here. $484. But like, Madsen was very good until he went to QPR, and like that was a transfer bummer. Leone was just a poor timing on that. Krastev was just money lit on fire. Bulat was too, but that wasn't even that much money. And then it's just a couple collection pieces. So it's like my thought recently, which is one I should have thought earlier in the season, was, do I work on a Genks collection now to help Stoikers and Smets? And it's expensive to do it. And I'm already like for quite a lot, but really, like, the only way other than using boosts on these 2 cards, and they're not really that high. I mean, Smets is a new card, basically. I'm not going to boost it from 1 to 4. Like, do I start buying Genk collection pieces? And I say this on, like, it was either today or yesterday, Harry got his Genk collection up to 5%. And it was like, am I going to have to start chasing it in order to make sure these cards are as good as they can be? And I don't want to say that like I regret the Midtjylland stuff, but it's difficult for me to see a way out here without like a big, like, I think the most likely outcome is If I get back to 0, and hopefully you get beyond, you get above 0 because you have a good return. But if I get to 0, it's probably not because of the Midtjylland cards in this collection. And if there happens to be one, if I get a lineup here that gets me a return, then you better believe I'll say it's because of the collection, because it's like, oh, they wouldn't have scored as many points. Like, here's one of the Olafsson returns, but I actually didn't think it was one of these. I have. Sorry, I have so that Olafsson classic rare that I have. I should just look that card up. Is this lineup? Yeah. So like that, I bought this one like this year. I didn't buy it recently. 10-10, I got this card. So I should probably, I didn't consider it a part of like the in-season collection or like my in-season spend. But obviously you can use them for in-season. And so I theoretically should do it. The irony is that with that card, whereas I bought this card from McBride along with the Olafsson super rare. Like, I had enough Midtjylland, I showed them before, like enough Midtjylland super rares, but I didn't have Olafsson. And so it was like, I needed to buy a super rare goalie to play. If I had, if Midtjylland were playing in a midweek, and sometimes they have good midweek matchups, then I need the goalie. And I bought this on one of those days where McBride was like, I'm done with super rare. I'm never buying cards ever again. And I was like, oh, well, I'm interested in the super rare. And he had the rare too. And I needed the rare. I didn't have one. And it was like, hey, can you throw that into, I'll take both. And did I overpay for it? Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe not. It's one of those that it felt like it was not an overpay at the time. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, that I guess I also won one card with this rare. I can't fathom I've won anything with this super rare. Oh, I did. I won this Kieran Rodriguez, which is a card I didn't even know I owned, and that I sold for $53. All right, there we go. We're working our way back. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Server said, tough to say without doing a more time-intensive deep dive, but my initial thoughts for this rare gallery is you went too wide and worried about collection score more. Too much Midtjylland doomed you, but could still turn it around with one good win, though. So that's the only thing that keeps me, optimistic is not the right word, but I'm more positive about it because you're right. Like, it 1 week and it all turns around. And even if that 1 week has 0 cards from the Midtjylland collection, I almost will attribute winning in the game to being able to pay for that collection. Like, the collection becomes more fun when I've been able to win otherwise. And it's weird because you would think it shouldn't matter, because I basically bought all of those cards because of a big win that I had in Contender. Like, I had a balance and I was like, oh, let me have some fun and buy this Midtjylland collection. And then as soon as I started buying them, then I'm like, when they have games or they have good midweek, good matchups, like, I'm going to want to play them. And then when they start to not return, now all of a sudden it was like, I'm forgetting that I bought those for fun. And instead I'm actually buying them to play. And they are on this incredibly long break now. So like, it just like accentuates the lack of success I've had with them. Elias, who I don't think is Elias Olafsson, but you never know, said, are you just going to cycle all of them in Classic or play your best Midtjylland player in season since the bonus on the card is so high? So because I have multiple collections, and I wonder if, I'm just going to see if I can. I think the easiest way for me to show this is here. So Actually, it might show up right here in my gallery. Let me do that. That might be easier. So what I was going to say is the tricky thing with this new collection is I don't need it theoretically once they turn classic, because they're like the only cards that I really want to like max out from this collection are like either goalie, Shimshire, Paulinho, and like honestly, that's probably it. Maybe Emiliano Martinez because I just like him. And you'll notice I'm missing a Dario Osorio, who's not in this 2022 collection, but he's in the current one. I don't have it yet. But so the problem is that like once my 2024 cards lose their in season, they won't be as powerful as these. And like my 2024 Shimshir is a midfielder, and this one's a forward, and he scores better as a forward. And so ultimately I'm left with duplicates, which like I knew was going to happen. It's not like this is surprising to me, but it's getting to the point where because I have 3 Lossel rares, and Toby said, isn't Evander in that one? Yes, Evander is in that one, and I don't have one. But basically, like I'm never going to, and I do have duplicates because I had this Henrik Dalsgaard. He's actually playable sometimes. And then the Jerseyman came, and I just never got rid of this one. So like there are cards, but like, and I did the same thing here with Emiliano Martinez. Like I had this one, and then this one, Jerseyman, came up. And because the Jerseyman has more collection score, it goes in the collection and gets the collection bonus. But like this one actually has more XP, but it's like not worth me just selling it for $2. And so I'm going to end up with like a lot of duplicates. And so like playing like the best Midtjylland and in season, like I actually don't think, Shimshire aside, I don't think there's really going to be a point. And I guess Olofsson or Lossel, whoever the goalie is, like I just don't think anybody's good enough to be the classic card in an in-season lineup in the future. I mean, I would be super pumped if that turned out to be completely false, because then that means I have one. But it's just like, again, I knew that I was going to have duplicates like going into next year, but it's just not really what I was hoping for. Like I was hoping to get returns, and it was like I didn't care that I had duplicates in the future, because it was like, oh, these guys already won me a bunch. But if they're not winning me anything, now we're starting to get into panic mode. So now it's like I'm almost relying on these other players to make enough money so that I can justify the Midtjylland spend, even though I've already justified it since I won the money earlier. But I think I think there are 2 realistic outcomes that would have come from this. Had I not built the Midtjylland collection, I probably build a full Sparta one, which would be just as detrimental, if not worse, than Midtjylland. I don't think I buy a Westerlo collection, legitimately. What I should have done is buy a Go Ahead Eagles one, because I love this Jakob Briand card so much. Or Genk. And Genk is obviously much more expensive. But had I just taken the Midtjylland and maybe even the Sparta money at the beginning of the season, like the Sparta one I started in August, right? Yeah, August 6th. I bought this Negley card for some reason. Why did I think Olai? Yeah, Olai wasn't until a month later. I have no idea why I bought that Negley card so early. No clue. Tobe said never too late to double up on Denmark and go FCN. I can't. I appreciate that, but I can't. So now it's like, do I go in for the Genk collection? And I don't know why that's not closing. There we go. The problem with the Genk collection is that, like I said, it's pricey. I did it in limited. I didn't realize those two were in the same collection. How about that? Anyway, yeah, like I got Smets and Stoikers. That's it. Like I'm not even at 2%. But like, do I really want to? And I mean, you look at some of these prices; these are all secondary. So like, I'm more of a buying from Sorare so that I get the collection bonus. Like $12 basically to get to 2%. Server said it's pricey and you'll be behind on XP and you won't be able to train without sacrificing their cards. Without sacrificing the cards, you have to train. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's part of it. And again, like they're not that many cards that I think I need to max out, but like Smets is one. He's on level 1 still. And Stoikers is on level 5. Like it, yeah. And I'm actually not as worried. I know this is going to sound very strange. I'm not as worried about my XP being behind others, even though like the goal should be to be higher than everyone else. But it's more just like there are ways for me to make this card better. And should I be taking the steps to do it? That if I spend $12, all of a sudden this 8.5% card goes to 9.5%. Gets to 11 if I boost it early, you know, stuff like that. And Mike, I agree with Mike. If you could please hit the like button, that would be really helpful. Unless you are just, I mean, at least hit it to feel bad for me for all of these terrible buys. Yeah, I don't know. The only other card I considered from Genk was Van Crombrugge, and he probably loses his job at some point anyway. So I'm not sure it's even worth doing it. But yeah, it's a tough one. I also had a few like rewards from classic comps. Like I finished 20th, apparently, some in Challenger Classic once in D1, one on Andreas Skov Olsen, which I tried to sell immediately, and the floor just like cratered. I won this Claudio Ramos. He's a backup at Porto. And so Elias, not Olafson, or probably not Olafson, said the real question is, did you have fun along the way? So I had fun along the way, and I stopped having fun when I made this spreadsheet. And it's not that, I mean, it's not that I didn't have fun, but it was more just like this realization of, have I been doing everything that I can do to make my lineups and my cards the best that they can be? And I think, honestly, I think the answer is yes. The outcomes just weren't in my favor. That the Midtjylland injuries, which included 2 players that were like key to my lineups, which were also very key to Midtjylland in real life, meant that because their results were not as good, my results were not as good. And I don't think there's any, I mean, obviously there's nothing I could do about that. It's not like I could have like stopped the injury, but the Sparta collection, maybe and the collection is not that big. Don't get me wrong there. I mean, I did 5% in limited, which feels like a gigantic mistake, but like this one's only 7 cards. Now, granted, only 2 of them are 2.5 are playable. 3 total. We count half of Nagley and half of Bass. The fact that Olai and Bass still don't have pictures too is also really tilting. I think I would like this. I would be more okay with them if they had pictures and I could open them. So there's that. Elias said, I mean, the season is not over, right? Are the injured players who are key going to be back after the break? So Paulinho actually came back before the break. Shimshire didn't, but yes, they should. And like I should be optimistic. And I think it's just because they've been off for so long and and they still don't come back for like another 5 weeks that I feel like I'm running out of time. And the other tricky thing about Midtjylland is the Danish Superliga does a league split. So like their last 5 games of the season, 10 games, I think it's 10, are against like the top half. And that's not great. Like you don't want your players playing against the top half teams. You want them playing against the bottom half. And they're not bad enough to make the bottom half, which is ironically how I first got into Midtjylland. Is the summer that I bought them was 2 summers ago. The previous season, the 2022-23 season, they were in the bottom half and just smashed it. And then they qualified for Europe, and there was a time where they played 13 game weeks in a row. And I was like, I love this team. And yeah, then they weren't. I mean, I still love them. Mike said, the worst thing about the no pick card is that they have a chance to being special edition, thus boosting the collection bonus. That's a great point. Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I would like them to do that. But ultimately, like, I think I've had like multiple, I don't know if it's multiple people or just the same person. It's not Sorare Holland, so I don't want to throw them out, but it's like somebody Sorare and the Netherlands having the Eredivisie, whatever it is. Somebody was like, you should have known, like Sparta is not that good. Like, I don't even know, where did they even finish last year? Eredivisie table 2023-24. So Sparta finished 8th. And I was like, that seems fine. I didn't really love Utrecht. Maybe I should have made a Utrecht collection. I actually thought about Ajax, but Ajax were still like somewhat overpriced for how bad they were. And so, yeah, this is the table last year. Sparta finished 8th, Go Ahead 9th. And then somebody was like, I remember when they told me, they were like, oh, Sparta are terrible. You should have done Go Ahead. Go Ahead are in 7th and Sparta are literally 16th. Like they are currently in relegation or relegation playoff, I guess. 12 points after 17 games. And so hopefully they just bounce back. But again, I don't even really have that many players. I just need them to start getting clean sheets. Service said, sorry if you already mentioned this. Do you have a record of how many game weeks you have had a Division 1 team? I didn't keep that. I don't know. Do they still do that thing where you used to be able to see like the history of like that entry? I wonder if they still do that. Challenger. Jackfruit, I know, is in Division 1. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, they used to like. I don't think so. Yeah. They used to have like, it showed you game week by game week. Does anyone know if that still exists? That feels like a big time regression. I don't know if I had Division 1s every game week or not. Goose is making me feel better here, saying Go Ahead success this season wasn't expected. What's funny is it's not even that successful. They're basically in the same spot as they were 9th to 7th, and Sparta fell off, so that gave them an 8th. And so you shouldn't feel bad about not picking them. That's just hindsight. Appreciate that, Goose, my man. Thank you. So I think I've had Division 1s for the most part. Surface, maybe not every single game week, but Mike said that should show on Sorare, but I can't remember how you get to it now. I don't either. see if we can find it together. Upcoming game week. Maybe it's in a previous game week. Did I have a challenger lineup in this one? Special, champ? I don't think I haven't had challenger in a few weeks. Let's see. Game week 35. Did I have challenge? Yeah, this looks like a big week. Champ, challenger. There's Jack. Oh, so Jackfruit was in 2. Yeah, I don't know. You can't click on this. On the safe. I don't know. It would have been nice to see. Oh man, I just missed promotion here too. Obviously, he got promoted. Jackfruit got promoted at some point. So this is 2-2-3. I don't know, but obviously, like you need to be in Division 1 in order to have that one win gets you there, because in Division 2, where my guava is still there, yeah, 550. I mean, that's a huge drop off. 1,500 to 550. And I think, oh, this is in Division 3. 250 for Division. I'll probably win Division 3 again. Elias said, I had a go-ahead Eagles collection last season. I sold it right before they won 5-0. Hindsight is very distorting. Yeah. Yeah. I'm blaming everything on Midtjylland here, but I've got some time left. But it does feel a little bit like we're running out of time. And they still don't play for weeks. And so it's kind of like, let's get moving here. Let's get moving. But it definitely hasn't been as fruitful as the contender as my contender play. And I don't know if that's because River Plate are much more successful in contender than Midtjylland are. Like those are almost like my anchor teams. And I don't really have those in champ. I guess Strasbourg is starting to become that, or Napoli. But I'm never going to build those collections like I built River Plate, Racing, which didn't work out, Sparta or Midtjylland. Maybe that's the thing. Those are like essentially the 4, Necaxa to a lesser extent. So let's call it 2 out of 5 have been like successful. And yeah, the Midtjylland one just doesn't feel that successful yet. For those of you who are limited time only people, I have limited. Let me change this view. I'll make it a little easier. For this weekend, for the 3 collections I built, or in 4 because Sparta will be there. I think I'm going Gank Stack here. If Van Crombrugge is going to play, I'm really worried that he's going to be questionable. And as long as he's questionable, I'll probably take him out. I had him in rare, and I'll probably take him out here and just, I don't know if I'll play Davy Rofe or Olai. But anyway, Gang Stack with Haspelat. Wonder how much a Westerlo, like here I am, like how much does a Westerlo limited collection cost to get that Haspelat to 5% collection bonus? Like it can't be that much, right? Is there anyone? Oops. Vuskovic is $29. I should have bought him. That's the problem. That's the one I should have bought. Van Langendonk is the goalie, $4. Bayram's really good, $3. But like, I'm never going to play all these guys. I'm not going to play anybody other than Haspelat. What's my Haspelat up to now? Level 7, 1% collection bonus. Because I bought it. Whatever. Anyway, I've got Ghent, Defensive stack, they're away to Dender this weekend. They're favored, but Dender is always a little tricky. I have Zakaria El Awadi from Genk, Briam captain, and Arden Jashari. Jashari is away to Anderlecht, so I actually might take that out for somebody else from Genk, maybe. And then Division 4, those were 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, I'm not in Division 1 yet in limited. But I'll have Ola and Eerdhuizen. I have Bangora there from Genk. Maybe I move him here and move Jashari. Laridison, who's terrible, and Bass, who's terrible. So that's what I have for Challenger. And then, yeah, as Mike mentioned, Goose said those Westerlo cards will be way cheaper on auctions. That's true, too. That's true. Goose said 3 of my rules of thumb in Sorare: buy players who can score well. I like that. Avoid players and teams who have just overperformed. You don't know that until later, though. And if you buy a collection, buy the good cards and the cheap cards to get to 5%. Yeah, that was the key. That was the idea. And then Mike Baskin is right. Liga MX is back. And so my contender lineups are starting to be a little more plentiful this time around. And of course, Nicholas Kuhn gets hurt, so I got to replace that. And I'm still looking for a contender forward who's good. Daniel said, although I love collections, I don't really want to build them for the upcoming MLS in season, but that's also because I want to try to play based on 5 and 10 game fixture runs. Yeah, I think there are going to be enough people who build like Revolution collections to get Carlos Heel as high as possible and Galaxy ones to get Peck as, I think they're going to be like, I get it, but I also think you're going to be at a significant bonus point disadvantage doing that, especially if you're like going in and out of new cards that you'll always be at like 5%. And it just gets really tricky. Mike said, you need to weigh it in cost per point. How many extra points are you going to get from Hasbulla for the cost of getting to 5%? I don't know, but I actually don't necessarily think it's the number of points. I mean, I guess it's the same thing, but I was like, it just matters like when I'm up into the next level of reward or if I'm going from second to first. So like, if the 5% gets me 0.2 points, it's obviously more than that. If it gets me half a point, but that half a point is meaningful, then it's like, then it matters. Like in the words of Sean Newsham, it matters when it matters, or it matters where it doesn't matter. Never mind. Goose said, you don't know who is just overperformed, but it's possible to make an estimated guess. Utrecht, for example, has clearly been overperforming this season. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they'll stop overperforming this season. Like maybe this is how they perform this season and next season they regress, like Sparta. And like, why give up on them now if they can continue to if they overperform for another few months? They don't have to overperform for years. Streams from a Room said, if you have space for a classic contender forward, Paulinho from Toluca could link up well with Herrera when he's available. Yeah, I thought about that. I think Paulinho is just mostly a decisive dependent forward that doesn't really fit my gallery, but I might. Gia said, you're trying really hard, but you're a YouTuber. Just do something crazy like less known teams from other side of the planet or Uzbekistan national team. Haber's doing that now with the Prem. Why anybody would play the Prem, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think if I said this to somebody the other day, that if multi-accounting was allowed, and I don't mean like multi-accounting in terms of somehow taking advantage of rules to get things, but it was just easy. Like if I could start a new account and do something like that, how far can I take a team of Uzbeki footballers? I would do that. But because you can't multi-enter, or because I can't have multiple accounts, excuse me, like where would I don't want to sacrifice one of my real lineups for the fun or the absurd. Mike said, are there non-DA dependent forwards in Liga MX? I think it's just Juan Brunetta. Pablo Barrera used to be that guy, and he's not that guy anymore. So we'll see. Idrissi, I think, is going to Qatar or Saudi somewhere. Karupti. So I literally had an offer out on him, and somebody sent that to me, and I was like, oh, never mind. I mean, we got nothing to do. Let's look. I need it for this weekend. The two guys I considered were Cerny from Rangers or Hine from Mets. Oops, not Champions. Cerny's a top pick scorer. I mean, Berardi's obviously a good one. Germ, I did think of Giacomakis, but I don't know. We'll see. Brunetta's forward cards are double the price of his midfielder cards. And actually, I think I lost that. Hold on. But I actually bought for in-season, I bought his in-season limited. And so I obviously can't play him here. Like I'm going with the Tigre stack, which like they're away to San Luis, which isn't like they're favored, but it's not like a great matchup. But next weekend they have a good one. I forget who they play. Home against Mazatlan, maybe. But yeah, here's Paulinho. And I saw Uzuni is possibly transferring somewhere. I did think about Inigo Vicente. He always seems fun, but he's away. But yeah, Giacomakis is an interesting one. There's Hine. I was surprised at how low his pick score was, but I guess playing away to the first place team in your league is not ideal. And yeah, just like contender forwards are ugly. And so it's like, if they're this ugly, why am I spending any money on them? So German doesn't need to be in season, but buying a classic limited contender card feels like the nut low of Sorare. Toby says Alvarez. Which Alvarez is this? C Alvarez? $10 from Levante. Those are decent scores. Krupti said Idrissi is staying until after the Club World Cup. Is that right? And Azuni Austin. That's what it was. That's right. I mean, is this guy really worth $10? To get like a 2.5% card? God, I hate that. I mean, I like it, but Goose said, by the way, I really like the Sorare data page where you can see how many cards of a player have certain percentages. I agree. I had like never really used that card before, and it was actually Nepenthes who started using it on a stream once. And I was like, man, that is a good page that I never use. And it's good to know kind of like what you're up against. Like, is Berardi really worth Brunetta and Cerny? In-season Cerny is double the, so he's like $14, and the Brunetta forward card is about $14, which I can't buy anyway. The answer is probably. Yeah. Germ said Loriente and piggyback Berardi D. I thought about that too. I actually DM'd Scosmo the other day about that. Where was he on the list? So he's an A. Like, I definitely thought about that. And they play, I didn't even, whatever this is. Südtirol. Is this like an Italian club? Where, like, what? Does Italian have an umlaut? Mike said, so is the answer buy Brunetta forward and find a different mid? I mean, it might be. I did it here. Like I have the Brunetta forward card here. Sutural or bottom. Yeah, like which almost makes it seem like should I just get Berardi? Yeah, Berardi. Yeah, German part of Italy. Thank you guys. Yeah, I don't know. Never call people from South Tyrol Italians. Okay. Will do. Or won't. Whatever. So yeah, we'll see. Cerny plays today, but then actually doesn't play next weekend. Plays 43, but doesn't play 45, which is really super annoying. Because then I'm just back to having to buy another guy. Ugh, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, that's all I got today. I hope that was entertaining and helpful, at least. Just sort of the thoughts that are going through my head with these cards. And if you're like, man, Laird spent a lot on those cards and really isn't winning, I wonder if he's okay with it. Yeah, not so okay with it. But we move on and we try to win. Thank you to everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe with Andy. I'm not sure yet, but either way, I'll be here. So good luck with all your lineup buildings, and don't forget to get those steps in.